And this live again is Will's Take on Sports. I am the host, Will Walker. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my show. I really appreciate it. Gonna get into this week. Podcast 922. I'm gonna simply call it quarter. Let's just call it quarter. We're a quarter of the way through the NFL season. This is week 4. So there, let's just call it quarter. That's it. Quarter of the way. There you go. I needed a name, so I came up with that right off the top of my head. All right, we're going to get into some other things before I get to making my picks. I pick 5 games every week. Some NFL, some college. You know, it's a mixture. That's how I do it. Maybe one week I'll do all college. Maybe one week I'll do all NFL. But that won't be this week. I want to get into some things in regards to what's going on in the world of sports. Something that's kind of got my interest a little bit is this transfer portal. Guys are leaving these schools. They're not getting no playing time, or situations not working out as far as whether the school is doing well or they just don't like the environment or whatever. That's just not only in college. That's also in the NFL, and I don't have one iota of a problem with it. I know that there are those out there who think that this is an issue. They feel like you, especially for the college kids, you give it a commitment. You should stick with it. I don't agree with that premise. I'm sorry. That just does not work for me. I think that because of the way, because football is a violent game. These guys sometimes, you know, these are large individuals. They are colliding against each other, sometimes up to 80 plays a game. That is a lot to put your body through. And since that's the case, they should have the right to choose whether or not where they want to play. If they like their environment, I get it. For the college kids, they signed a letter of intent saying they committed to that school. They want to play there. But if it don't work out, go somewhere else and go to get an opportunity to play somewhere else that you agree with, that's more to your liking. You don't necessarily have to stay at a school, you know, anymore. Since they laxed on the transfer rules, I say take advantage of it and do it. Now, I understand Tennessee has lost 5 players. Tennessee's not doing well this season, so those kids decide they wanted to bounce. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. Miami has lost 3 players, 3 of them before the start of this season. I didn't have a problem with it. You know, 2 of those kids saw the depth chart and said, hey, this ain't for me. I'm going to go somewhere where I get the opportunity to play. I don't have a problem with it. Oklahoma has lost 2 players. There's some other kids that when I looked at the transfer portal that, hey, they moved on. They decided, hey, this wasn't an opportunity for them. They want to go somewhere where they can get the opportunity to play, or they didn't want to be around, a school that was losing. Hey, it's their choice. I do not have a problem with them doing that because it's their bodies that they're laying on around. They're taking that risk at playing such a violent game. So I don't have a problem with it. For those of you who do, hey, that's on you. But for me, it doesn't matter. It's the same way how I feel about a guy asking for a trade in the NFL. When Mika Fitzpatrick asked for his trade from the Dolphins, I have a problem with it. Now, his reasoning I was kind of iffy about, because he said he didn't like, he want to be just, hey, I want to play one position. Just tell me one position. And he's entitled to that. But that was the main thing, the Dolphins, because that's basically at Alabama, that's what he did. He was a versatile guy. So the Dolphins saw him as a versatile guy. But that man has something to do with the fact that the Dolphins just are not a very good football team. So he saw what was going on. He decided to move on. Don't have a problem with it. It's interesting that he's with the Steelers and they're also 0-3. I said this about the Steelers before the beginning of the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers were going to struggle without Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. That those guys are talented. They may have been headaches. They may have been issues in the locker room or things they had to deal with, but on the field, those guys were productive. They're not there. And then on top of that, Big Ben went out in game 2. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they may not, hey, Mika Fitzpatrick, the Pittsburgh Steelers may not be tanking, but their record is not going to be much better than the Miami Dolphins. Although he didn't have a choice and he didn't have a say in the matter where he was going to get traded to. Anyway, all right, going on. And then there's another guy in regards to him asking for a trade. I think he's not asking for a trade anymore. The owner did come out and say, hey, we're not trading Jalen Ramsey or whatever the situation that is. And then Jalen Ramsey's had his issues this week. with showing up, with him being sick, possible injury, and then other personal things going on in his life. And again, Jalen Ramsey has the right. If he says he doesn't want to play in Jacksonville, Jacksonville's not paying him. It's not going to give him the money that he wants, or not paying him, period, right now. They haven't offered him an extension. And him and Tom Coughlin may be having issues. And the reason I'm bringing Tom Coughlin up is because of the issues Tom Coughlin had when he was with the Giants. And some of the Giants players having issues with Coughlin's rules and the way he do things. So it's kind of no surprise that him and Jalen Ramsey would clash, or that not only Jalen Ramsey, Tom Coughlin probably would have problems with, but this new age of player. Social media is big, and these guys do a lot of self-promoting on social media, as the case when Jalen Ramsey showed up in that Brinks truck. I thought it was comedy, it's entertainment. It doesn't matter to me. I don't have a contract extension to give Jalen Ramsey, but the person who does is Tom Coughlin. And when that happened, I even said on my show, hey, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think Tom Coughlin is going to like that too much. I don't know that for sure, but I don't think Tom Coughlin is going to like that stunt too much. So it could be a possible clash between Jalen Ramsey and Tom Coughlin. And that could be, let's see who wins. Does the player win or does the GM win? Who do the owner side with? That's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Jadeveon Clowney at the beginning of the year didn't want to be franchise tagged. He was able to get his way out of Cleveland. So again, violent sport. These guys have a right to choose where they're going to play, in my opinion. All right, turning over to something that also kind of caught my attention a little bit, or it intrigued me. The FBI probe on college basketball has led to the NCAA basically coming down with a notice of allegations to the Kansas Jayhawks basketball program, and saying it's a lack of institutional control. And they are directly pointing at head coach Bill Self. This ain't no roundabout way or saying, hey, he may have done it, or hey, this is the situation or what it is. They're saying no. They're coming directly at Bill Self. A lot of this has to do with Adidas and a possible Adidas, paying players and channeling these guys to go to Kansas. It is a very interesting article that I read in regards to the notice of allegations that the NCAA has sent to Kansas. Kansas, of course, is going to go into this college basketball season coming up as one of the best teams in the country. The target is on Bill Self, because like the Rick Pitino situation, or just like any other situation where a school, they receive a notice of allegations or possible sanctions from the NCAA, it's always about the head coach. I'm going to say this. I don't care what college program it is, whether it's whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is, the head coach of any college football, any college sports program knows every detail what's going on at their program. I'm going to guarantee that. I'm going to just try to told you. There's no way they don't know. They may not be able to be present at all incidents or all events, but they know every detail that goes on in their program. Real quick about the FBI. Why are they investigating college basketball improper payments? I'm a little lost on that one. That's the one that kind of still got me a little perturbed. Even when I heard it 2 years ago, I was like, really, the FBI is getting involved in improper benefits or to college basketball players? This stuff's been going on forever. This ain't nothing new. This stuff's been going on forever, and it's really bad on the college football side. Like I said, I really don't care about these kids. I don't really care about recruiting. I don't care about kids getting paid to go to certain schools. They should get paid. These schools make millions of dollars for these kids' talents and the exposure they bring to the school, and it's nothing wrong in my mind that they should get paid for it. Oh, I know some of you think about that education stuff. That's great. That's your opinion. Will's opinion is they should pay these kids, give them something, for showing up. I mean, for all the hard work and the dedication that they have to show to be a part of these sports programs, especially men's basketball and college football. It really is. It's like a job, and they deserve some kind of retribution for what they give. Besides a scholarship, they should get paid. And I don't have. I just think that should be the way that should happen. And man, Kansas, I think, like I said, they can level this against any program. I'm pretty sure there's payments. All the top basketball schools, all top football schools, I'm pretty sure they can find something to where somebody got there by a payment. I'm going to go out on that limb and say that. Like I said, recruiting is a dirty business, extremely dirty. All right, before I get into picking my 5 games this week, I want to talk about the game tonight between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are undefeated. They are playing very good defense thus far this season. But on the other side of the ball, there seems to be a little struggle, or Aaron Rodgers just doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at one time was just, without a doubt, the best quarterback in the F and the L, but he doesn't look that way right now. But hey, the Packers defense is carrying this team right now, and you got to think at some point Aaron Rodgers is going to pick it up a little bit, but can the Packers defense keep playing at the level that they're playing at? And if they do, they're going to be a serious challenger to go to the Super Bowl in Miami, representing the National Football Conference. But anyway, for this game tonight, Carson Wentz needs his receivers to catch the ball. Point blank, period. Just trying to told you. If they can catch the football, or I tell you what, get some of those adhesive gloves that the other guys are using to help them make those one-handed catches. Maybe the Eagles guys can use those gloves. They use those gloves, they be able to hang on to the ball, because if they catch the ball, the Eagles would have a much better record than 1-2. The guy dropped the ball in the game Sunday night against Atlanta. I mean, streaking up the sideline, had a touchdown, drop. The tight end dropped a pass last week in the game versus Detroit. And then I'm not going to blame the wide receiver that had the possible touchdown at the goal line off a deep pass, because the pass looked like it was underthrown. it was a difficult catch. A catch that an NFL wide receiver should make still, but it was a difficult catch. But anyway, for the purposes of this game tonight, I think that the Packers, who are favored by 4.5 points at home, since they've been playing these Thursday night games every week. They went to that schedule in 2012. The Packers have not lost at home. They have not lost at home. They are undefeated on Thursday night games since they've gone to this schedule in 2012 of playing a game on Thursday night every week. Packers are undefeated. I see that streak. That streak will continue. I think it will. The Packers are favored by 4.5. I'm only giving a line because that keeps me interested. And, I bet sometimes. And anyway, 4.5 points. I think the Packs cover that line tonight and get the win at home. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, let me get into the 5 games that I'm going to pick for this week. Starting with college football. All right, Arizona State versus Cal. Cal is undefeated. The Sun Devils lost their first game last week to Colorado. Herm's Devils, they play D. They didn't play it last week. They gave up 31 points, but they are a solid defensive team. Cal is really strange to me. They struggled with North Texas at home, but went on the road and won versus Washington, and they won last week at Ole Miss. So, I see this game as a close game. The line is 4.5 for the Golden Bears. Like I said, it's close. I'm going to go with the Golden Bears to win, but I don't think they will cover the line. All right, Virginia at Notre Dame. Let's see. Virginia has been basically anointed the second best team in the ACC behind Clemson. That's not saying much, because the gap between Clemson and any team in the ACC is about as wide as Michael Strahan's gap teeth. His two gap teeth in his mouth. But anyway, Notre Dame faked injuries to slow Georgia's fast-paced offense down at times in that game. Look, they won't need to be that deceitful this week versus the Cavaliers, because the Cavaliers play slow and methodical, but they are a very disciplined team. They put me in the mind of their men's basketball team, which won the national championship last year. But anyway, I'm not that high on Virginia like some people are. Some people are saying that they are clearly the class of the Coastal Division. I wouldn't say that quite. I seen them struggle with Pitt the first game, and then they start off very slow versus Old Dominion. So I wouldn't say that. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and say that the Irish take this game by double digits at home. All right, let me turn my attention over to the N, the F, and the L. Now Kansas City will be at Detroit. Kansas City offense, to me, can score against any team in the NFL. Any team. I don't think there's any team that's going to be able to stop that team. I think some teams will contain them, slow them down, but stop. No. But the thing about Kansas City is same issue as last year, but can they get any stops on defense? They do have defensive issues. Kansas City's defense to me is like, putting on new clothes and still and not taking a shower and still being musky or stink. That's pretty much how I look at their defense. They have new players. They just aren't better. They still got the same issues they had from last season. So I really don't think they should be overwhelming favorites in this game versus Detroit. That's why I like the Lions at home. And believe me, I don't believe in the Lions. I don't think they're a great team. I think that they're a solid team, and they've been a very fortunate team for that matter, because the teams they played in the first 3 weeks, have all had issues with injuries or players missing. They were beating Arizona the first week in Kyler Murray's first start, and then they lost that lead, and that game ended in a tie. But they were able to come the last 2 weeks and get wins, starting with, last week at Philadelphia. That's a big win, got my attention. That's why I'm going to go with the Lions at home. I think that the Lions will be able to beat Kansas City. Plus, ain't nobody going undefeated. And that's going to lead me right into this game between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are another team that has benefited from misfortunes from their opponents. And mainly because the misfortune is that the Jets and the Giants were the first 2 games on their schedule, and Cincinnati. So that's what I mean by that. But the Bills are stingy on defense. They're very solid on defense. They play just enough offense with Josh Allen at quarterback. They're a decent team. They have the right to be 3-0 based upon the schedule they played, but they're a decent team. But we know about the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. I predicted that they would go undefeated when they signed Antonio Brown, but Antonio Brown ain't on that team no more, and he basically texted his way or really had a meltdown on last Sunday. But anyway, he's not on that team anymore. No matter how I think of Antonio Brown's off-the-field actions, he is a difference maker on the field. There's no denying that. And he's not on this team. And plus, the Pats have issues. Tom Brady is not fully healthy. The offensive line has issues. Julian Edelman will not be playing this week. And, like I said with Kansas City previously, this is a road game. And I think that the Buffalo Bills pull this upset. So I'm going to go with another dog and say that the Buffalo Bills pull an upset over the New England Patriots at home. I know, interesting. I'm thinking about it as I'm talking about it. I'm only playing that because simple the fact is the next game I'm going to pick is the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. The reason I played Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror is because these two teams mirror each other. They both are good on defense, and they both have questions at quarterback. Mr. Trubisky for Chicago, Kirk Cousins for the Minnesota Vikings. Trubisky did look good Monday night. I give him that. But they played against Washington. Washington is not a very good football team. That football team is about as bad as the politics in D.C. Both are full of turmoil. That's all I'm going to tell you. So that football team isn't that good, but give him credit. He did what he needed to do. Minnesota pretty much is led by the NFL's leading rusher, Dalvin Cook from the 305, my hometown, Miami, Florida. When I look at this game, I know it's going to be a defensive struggle. It's going to be a tight ball game. And the only reason I give the Bears an edge because this game will be played at Soldier Field. And that's it. That's the only reason why. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears at home. All right, that's 5 games. That's 5 home teams. So I'll see. Hopefully I've been pretty accurate. I've had some good with some 3-2 weeks, 1 4-1. I'm trying to go perfect. We'll see. Just things under my control. Just giving my opinion. That's all it is. But I want to thank everybody who's taking the time to download my show. Also, from the website, from the Spreaker website and the mobile app. Also want to thank. Also follow my show on Twitter and Instagram at WWS_sports show. Also, radio.com. I want to thank the listeners from radio.com. Thank Audio Boom for their distribution of my show across the different platforms to listen. Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play Podcasts for Android users. Tune in, Stitcher. Thank you guys so much. Again, I close this show the same way every week. Say a prayer for somebody because prayer changes things. I'll holler. Listen to my show. A new episode coming Sunday. Be easy.